Alrighty, I think we have a quorum and we can go ahead and get started. I will call this meeting to order, regular school board meeting, just past 6:30 on Monday, March 27th. We're here in Orwell. Unless anyone feels strongly otherwise, I guess I'm just gonna pass on the pledge tonight. I don't see a flag and we're all pretty cramped in here, so there's no objections to that. We'll say two pledges at the next meeting. I will look for a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Okay. Just a note that under number 14, executive session, we will have 3 executive sessions tonight. All legal and student matters, so there'll be a slightly expanded executive session. Any other changes, Brooke?
No.
All right, all those in favor of approving the agenda as presented, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Next, looking for a motion to approve the minutes from the March 13th meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, correction, or discussion on those meeting minutes? Public comment. You guys are right up here in the front. I imagine you guys are part of the student presentation. So is there anyone else behind them who has a public comment? Okay, is there anyone online who has a public comment? Nope. All right. Correspondence, Brooke, any correspondence of note?
No.
So now we'll get to the students. Patrick, I'll let you introduce the goings on here tonight.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for coming up to Orwell. I'm going to introduce Grayson Peters, our 6th grade teacher. He's got some fine students with him tonight, and the topic is poetry.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having us. I have brought in here a group of students that have just poured their heart into poetry. This trimester, in all 6 grades across Slate Valley, we have all been working on a unit on poetry. And these students have worked to memorize a poem, to present their poem to myself and their classmates, read a mirrored poem, analyzing a topic. They have come here today to share with them their mirrored poems, and they want to share with you what we did this trimester. So guys, please come on up.
Hello, thank you for letting us come to present to you. We explored poetry in the 2nd trimester of 6th grade. Our poetry unit asked us to choose a poem to present from our memory to our classmates and teacher. As well, we did 2 things to help us with our presentation.
First, we analyzed the meaning and style of the poem so we would understand the meaning of the poem we were presenting. Secondly, we also worked on the practice of writing poems. We wrote poems that mirrored the subject and style of the poems we presented to our classmates.
And I would like to share with you the poem we worked so hard to create. We can't wait to share our mirrored poem. I hope you enjoy this presentation.
We learned in class that it is a custom to snap after we hear a poem. Please get ready to put on your snapping.
I'm Ruby, and my poem is called Dog and Snow by Paulus Piper, and my mirrored poem is called She Loves Winter by me. She opens the door, snow falling. She runs out as if the snow's calling. So excited her heart rate is up, jumping and laying on the ground. A snowy bird in the sky drifting like a snowflake, strolling over to the heap of snow. With snow up to her knees, seeing her fantasy, Mom calling from inside. Her hat on her ears, she can't hear Mom. She hears only snow falling. Snow falling slowly, so beautiful, the smell of fresh cookies. Slowly walking back inside, she's now back inside. She is now warm, the loving warmth and smell of home.
My name is Avery, and the poem I chose is called Horses by Jennifer Gray. My mirrored poem is called The End of a Loved One. The neighbor watches as the old woman sits and sounds while the rain falls from the roof. Sometimes she will wander from window to window, hoping it will make her at ease. Still, she can't help but wonder why the rain would fall this day, the anniversary of her loved one who was stolen from her heart. She longed to race to their special place where the carved-out heart lay in the center of the tree.
I'm Jaden, and my poem is Meeting at Night by Robert Browning, and my mirror poem is Midnight Stop. On the bright moonlight of the beach, the light shines on the sand. Man has planned to make their name the clan, and all day they groove and the drink smooth. New brand with a can while they fly on their family sand.
My name is Cheyenne, and the poem I chose is
All right. Parker, do you want to come up, buddy? Or Peyton?
My name is Peyton Lucas, and the poem I am presenting is All Your Horses by Kay Ryan. Say when rain cannot make you more wet, or a certain thought can't deepen, and yet you think it again. You have lost count. A larger amount is no longer a larger amount. There has been a collapse, perhaps in the night, like a rupture in water, which can't rupture, of course. All your horses broken out with all your horses.
Hi, my name is Parker, and my poem is Music, and the lyric poem is called Music Too. What does music tell us? Words? No, it's more than that. It's a language, and the most heard. Music cannot be explained. Music is not unexplained. Sound is addicting and cannot be stopped.
My poem that I chosen was November Coffee Flower, and the poem that I mirrored was A Cold Night Sky. Crickets sing, it's dark and damp, leave animals tired so they set up camp. And sky is dark as any lake below, was vanishing as the small flakes glow. Sailors feet protection as the abyss cold, the stars blew up and became souls. A spark of dust left the place an orb was found, in the sky many feet above the ground. Such was the sky when the orb was discovered. Some people were shocked about what they recovered. Shining so bright as the fireflies gleam, it seemed like it came out of some sort of dream. It shines so bright for the dark night, when it fell out of the sky tonight.
Hello, my name is Maya Volpe, and the poem I chose is called Stars by Caramel. When the western sun lies low and light shines through the trees, the sun weaves like a bow. It's hard going down with ease. It's so hard to think as the sky goes pink. The colors have a place, calm tones they paint. Through scars we face, though our fears are faint. Where memories are made, it's morning now, the colors fade.
Hi, my name is Sophia, and my poem is Lullaby by C. Hughes, and my mirror poem is When night came and all the lights went out, I would shut my eyes and try to sleep. But something in my mind made me stay awake. So I would turn my music box on that sang about a boy who dreamed about flying in the sky with the doves. Up in the sky with the doves and never wanted. Thank you very much for letting us share our poetry unit with you.
We worked very hard on our poems and hope you enjoyed them as much as we did.
We appreciate the work you do for our school.
Our community would not be the same without people like you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Great job.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Great job.
We're just as exciting, if anything.
No, I was gonna say, don't say. Well, kids don't know what to do.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. They were great.
Very brave to share.
Yeah.
All right, thanks Patrick for organizing that. Moving on to committees, I'll first say that we did not have a quorum for our policy meeting tonight, so there is no action or items to discuss regarding policy. So buildings and grounds did meet, and I'll turn it over to the re-elected chair, Peter Stone, to give us an update on buildings and grounds.
So we,
Door was locked.
so we talked about the middle school locker room update of remodeling locker rooms to make it more classroom for the middle school, high school locker rooms, say not middle school. So we looked at plans for that. They're close to being what we want. It's a very needed improvement. We're waiting for the list of qualified bidders to come back. Hopefully the next time we meet, we'll have that. Talked a little bit about the pump station at the high school. We're gonna have to look into replacing that. It's not working the best. We gotta keep it going manually sometimes. And then talked about radon. And Orwell's a little high on radon, so we're gonna be doing a longer term test and looking into that. And that's the only other thing is I did bring up maybe thinking about, which we're gonna just keep thinking about it for now, is a bond for just doing some of our infrastructure work. So I just thought maybe the board members want to keep that in the back of their mind. If you're talking to people or thinking about it, we're I think something we should start considering. I think that's about it.
Are there any questions for Peter, buildings and grounds? Anyone online? All right, thanks, Pete. All right, so next we'll move on to job descriptions. There are 2 job descriptions that are being updated and require board approval. Is that correct?
Yes, well, the first one, 504 WIN coordinator, that is a new job description for the position that you approved at the last meeting. And then the assistant principal of student services, the only update to that one is a switch in the supervisory supervision responsibilities of who's supervising that position, which would fall back under Chris Fenway, which is what it used to be.
All right, so I would take a motion to approve those job descriptions, and then any other questions can take place within that motion.
Make the motion, we accept those 2 job descriptions, A and B.
Second.
Are there any questions about those job descriptions? Any further discussion? Hearing nothing, all those in favor of approving, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
And anyone opposed? All right. Next, we are moving on to contracts and resignations. So there is quite a bit of activity here. So we've got 23-24 contracts for next school year. We've got some resignations, 23-24, that take place at the end of this school year. We have a leave request, and then we have a resignation also that is taking place, I believe, sometime in April of this year. So I guess my preference would be to have 4 motions here, 4 groups, 4 motions. I will note too, Brooke, I believe that there is a resignation that is omitted by way of Archie Clark. He's not on that list, and I think I saw a
Right, that should,
resignation.
yes, that should be on there, Archie
Okay.
Clark,
So
as an elementary teacher.
okay. So I need a volunteer to help us through these motions.
I'll do it if I have a list.
And I guess, Peter, if you could just read, there's not too many, just read the name and either the title or the name, title, and salary where applicable.
Okay. So I'll make a motion for the 23-24 contracts. Archie Clark, social studies teacher for $61,022. Jana Cole, school-wide interventionist for $46,084.70. Gwen Hagenbarth, assistant principal, amended $105,000. Jennifer Paquette, co-principal, $120,175. Ben Worthington, co-principal, $120,175. Jessica Thurston, professional-based learning coach, $61,022.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion on those new contracts for next year? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving, please say aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Okay, Peter?
2023-24 resignations. So these are be at the end of this year.
Yep.
Lindsay Marcy, English teacher. Jenna Cole, special education teacher. Elizabeth Volpe, science teacher.
Well, that one actually goes down there.
Never mind the Elizabeth Volpe. Kristen Harris, music teacher. Kristen Patizzi, art teacher. Megan Sullivan, special education teacher. Jenna Lynn Fuco, school-based clinicianist. Jennifer Paquette, assistant principal. Archie Clark.
Yep.
Elementary teacher.
So that's a motion. Is there a second to accept those resignations?
Second.
Any questions or discussion on the resignations effective end of year? Hearing nothing. All those in favor of approving, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
And then 23-24 leave. Jessica Thurston, elementary school teacher.
And that's just for a 1-year leave of absence.
Did you get a second?
Second.
Second.
all right, that's Patty with a second. Any discussion, questions on the leave request for Jessica Thurston, who's obviously dipping her toes in the proficiency-based spectrum? Anything?
Okay.
We got to vote on it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, one more, Peter?
2022-23 resignation. Elizabeth Volpe, science teacher, effective 4/14/23.
I'll second it.
Any discussion, questions on the resignation of Elizabeth Volpe?
I have a question.
Yes.
Can we know why?
Yeah, she's taken another, I think she put it in her letter. She's
Oh, I
taken
didn't.
another position. Maybe she didn't put it.
I didn't.
It's in Orwell. Remember the name of the
I've got her right here.
mates?
I don't.
I'm
It's a
being
camp
called
in
to a
Orwell.
local opportunity that I know in my heart I cannot let pass.
Okay.
I'm not surprised, but
Orwell?
I
Yeah.
don't know anything about it.
I can't remember the exact
it was on
name,
the
but it's,
first one.
yeah,
Eco.
eco something,
Yeah, I can't remember, but.
exact name.
Isn't Vincent? I've never heard of it.
Yeah,
I don't know if I can give it.
and we do, Sean Ketchum, who's a retired, teacher at the
Well, I
high
have to
school
keep
is gonna be
scrolling.
coming back and
Okay.
taking the long-term
So-
position to the end of the
Oh.
year, so we'll have a certified teacher in that position.
Keep going.
Are there any other questions on the resignation of Elizabeth Volpe? All right, hearing nothing further, all those in favor of accepting that resignation effective 4/14/23, please say aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? So before we move off the subject of contracts and resignations, Brooke, is there anything that you want to speak to?
Just a few things. Obviously, I mean, some of these resignations that you saw in the packet are actually for folks to take other positions within the district. Jen Paquette is one of those folks as the new co-principal of the middle school, and Jen's here with us tonight. So if you haven't met Jen, she's back there in the green sweater. So,
Congratulations.
Do you have a speech prepared?
I do not have a speech.
Oh, okay, next time.
Next time.
Okay.
I'll get it ready. So we're very excited to have her on board in that role. And then the other folks, what we're generally seeing for resignations, as you could see through the letters of resignation, are either people are getting out of education altogether or they're moving out of the area. Those are the two reasons, generally speaking, for the resignation. So is there something else you wanted me to say?
No, I just, you can connect the dots here. You mentioned Jen, Archie,
Yep,
Jenna Cole.
yep.
Um,
Jess Thurston.
I just know one of your goals, Brooke, is to, develop that culture where we identify talent and promote from within. So it's good that we have people in the district who we want to keep, and they're exploring some new opportunities and taking advantage of those. So that's good. All right. Any other questions on this from the board?
Excuse me.
Sure.
Is it possible to turn this fan off? It's almost impossible.
Anything, it's freezing.
Well, it is blowing air too, but is there?
No, not really.
Could you move over here?
Closer, there's no one sitting between.
Sit next to me, John.
And
Okay.
Karina,
What is this?
yeah, come on
These are
down.
hats
These
for
are-
children that Becca made.
You're good for the
Oh,
phone.
very nice. Oh, very cute.
Yes.
Dinosaur.
Yeah,
I think
cool.
Casey has one. A hat?
We have a board show and tell tonight.
Some hand-me-downs.
All
All
righty.
That's got a bit big.
You come over and over here.
I think Opus one with pocket heads.
So we will move on to number 10, which is board configuration. I don't really have much to say regarding this or any presentation regarding this tonight. I do want to address one question that John had last meeting about the idea of redefining a quorum or what constitutes a quorum. I did reach out to our attorney, Sean, right, Sean?
Yeah.
Sean, and we cannot adjust the definition of a quorum by the language contained in our bylaws. Quorums are set by statute, so we don't really have any flexibility there to say it's a quorum of only, or a quorum is a majority of those board members that are seated versus the total amount of allocated board seats. So our quorum is a majority of 18, which is 10. And then once we have a quorum of 10, action can be taken when a majority of that quorum or 6 agrees. So I just wanted to answer that question for you.
Thank you for pursuing that.
So again, we spoke about board configuration a couple of years ago. Currently we have 6 towns, 3 members per town, a total board of 18. At times over the last few years, we've had numerous vacancies on the board. Luckily for us here, as we reorganized in March, we picked up some new members. Currently, we have 15 seats filled of 18 total. Nobody from West Haven. I know we have advertised and Brooke has been in contact with the select board at West Haven to start that process to see if anyone is interested. So I guess this is really a discussion for the board to have if they want to have it tonight or another night. But me personally, I think we ought to consider reducing the size of the board. There's a lot of people I think on the board who have spoken up recently, suggesting that their time on the board might be coming to an end soon. I'm not going to mention any names. My concern is just having a board that is well functioning, that is durable and sustainable. And I just have concerns that 18 is too big of a number. So if other people have those concerns and want to talk about this further, then we can bring in some more information about options about how we would reconfigure and the total number of board members we could potentially have, and whether we would do an at-large system or a system based upon census data and population, or a system where we just say have one fewer board member per town. So instead of 6 times 3, we have 6 times 2 and 12 total board members. So I guess I've said my piece. Is there anyone else who has an opinion or feelings they want to express on the configuration of the board, which again ultimately would need to be approved by the voters at a vote? So
I think it's a good idea to reduce the size for the reasons you said.
okay.
I would be in favor of doing it, just going down to like 2 per town.
Okay.
Do we have any representation from West Haven?
We do not.
Is that, what will we do about that?
We're gonna just eliminate West Haven. No one's here to represent them. So. No, I
I'm
mean,
just curious, what does
so
one do?
obviously,
We've been advertising.
No, I am.
Oh,
I'm not saying from like our standpoint, it's just like how long can a board?
well, you're supposed to appoint somebody within 30 days. I don't know if you have, I don't know how you appoint unwilling
People.
So, and you'd have to find 3
Right.
of them.
I mean, that's what I'm asking basically is how to,
Technically, you're required to fill the vacancy within 30 days. But
interesting.
I just not sure how you do that against somebody's will.
Do you want to,
so outside West Haven, do you have any other opinions on the size of the board, Patty?
I would agree that we should reduce it by 1, like Peter, like you probably.
Okay.
I don't like the 1, 2, 3. We used to do that based on population. I think it becomes confusing.
The other part of that too, if you reduce it to 2 per town, when somebody either agrees to be on the board or is appointed, it's a maximum term of 2 years. So it's not a 3-year commitment somebody's making to be on the board. It might make it more appealing.
Okay, that's an interesting
to
point.
potential
Yeah.
members.
Okay. All right. Does anybody else want to opine on this issue?
Do Fairhaven and Castleton typically have multiple people running against each other? I feel like Fairhaven usually, it
No.
seems like there's several people.
It's an exception if there's a contested seat. It happens every couple of years, but it's certainly an exception.
This is 15 right now. What we have for board members is the most we've had since probably after the first year of operation, first or second year. So 4 years since we've had a full board.
So would you open up the Hubbardton board seats to anyone within the other towns?
You mean West Haven?
The West Haven, yeah, sorry.
No, we
Mm-mm.
can't do that.
You could do an at-large system.
Well, we could.
Where, let's say
Yeah.
we decide that we want a board of 11 people, and we decide that we want all those seats to be at-large, meaning that anyone could run from any town, and you could end up in a scenario where you've got 5 people from Orwell and 2 from Castleton and 1 from Hubbardton, but you can't say, we're going to have 12 committed seats and then 1 at-large beyond that. It's either all at-large or another method.
I agree with the two. Going down to two is reasonable.
Okay.
I think it needs to still be even as far as the public sees even each town.
Yeah, and then another thing to discuss too is how would we implement that change? Let's say we come up with the plan, we propose it to the voters, they vote in the affirmative. Does that mean that everyone then has to run again from scratch? And, you know, if you're a tenured board member, you're no longer on the board. Everyone has to kind of rerun for those newly created 2 or 3 year seats. So that's something to discuss.
Because if you were changing, the
Maybe, I
tenure-
mean, I'd have to ask our attorney, but how that works.
Okay.
May I speak?
Kurt.
Tim?
Yes, go ahead, Kurt.
Yeah, I worked pretty hard to get elected. I wasn't successful the first time. Learned a few things, and squeaked one out the second time. And a lot of you haven't had to go through that. And as someone with the least seniority, I don't know if I'd be the one who'd be eliminated. But Fairhaven and Castleton are pretty big towns. West Haven, Benson, not so much. Of course, I guess it's self-interested of me, but I'd like to see proportional representation based on either census figures or student enrollment.
Okay. Thank you, Kurt. And again, there's no urgency to this issue. I just wanted to gauge how the board felt, and based upon the feedback over the next handful of board meetings, Brooke can just work on a few scenarios, consult with the attorney to see what we have to do legally, technically to implement a change. We can inquire about the term limits, John, the duration of the term, I should say. So, anything else on that one before we recess that discussion and bring it back up? Is there a hand up there, Brooke?
No.
No. Okay.
So,
All right.
so the bylaws would have to be changed.
The articles of agreement. Well, and ultimately
To
bylaws.
change the total configuration of our board, that would require a change articles of agreement, which would have to be approved by all the towns, a majority. And then I imagine then we would have to rewrite our bylaws to kind of be in parallel or synchronize with the amended articles of agreement.
Okay. Well, you'll confirm that with the attorney.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Okay, then. Thanks, guys. We'll move on now to the food service bid process. I know there was a few questions at the last board meeting, how that process works and where we currently stand and what level of board input, what level of input we would have as board members. So is that for you, Cheryl, to speak to?
Yeah.
Okay.
So in your borrowed packet, I gave you a summary of the RFP process for a food service management company. The process is highly prescribed by the Agency of Education, so there's not a lot of wiggle room in how it works. So I've laid out the timeline and the steps that are involved. Food service falls under me as the director of finance. I'll say that, and copiers is the course I cut when I was in business school. Food service and copiers. I like to joke because so it's one that the AOE provides a lot of support for those of us that have oversight of it that don't have experience in food service, because other districts or some districts have, even ones with food service management companies, have somebody on staff that is, either full-time or part-time responsible for management of the contract and interface with the management company and all the requirements for a food service program. Because not only is it highly prescribed by the state of Vermont, it's also very, there's a lot of federal oversight on the program in all kinds of different aspects of it, a lot of which is how this process works, the quantity of food that's served, the makeup of the food that's served, based on the ages of students and things like that. So there's a lot that goes into the food service program. And that includes the RFP process. So the contract was approved by the Agency of Education on March 9th for posting and distribution. It's for a fixed price per meal contract that's prescribed by them. This is the contract, so it's lengthy. It's the contract, so that it's a request for proposal and contract. So the RFP incorporates the contract. And then, as I mentioned, there's 10 attachments, 22 exhibits. So I put that all together, submit it to the Agency of Education. They come back with a whole bunch of changes and comments. I make all those changes and comments, send it all back out to them, and finally they approve it and say, okay, your contract and RFP is good to go. So on March 15th, it was posted on the Vermont Business Registry and Bid System site. And basically, it just says, if you're a party that's interested, to contact me, and I send out the RFP. I actually tried to upload it to the bid site. It won't accept it. It's too big. So then at the same time, the Agency of Education Child Nutrition Program provides a list of food service management companies that operate in the state of Vermont or have shown interest in operating in the state of Vermont. So I emailed to all of them and I provided you with a list, and I just gave you the state, the address of the state that I assume is where their headquarters or their main office, for lack of a better word, is located. So you have some idea of where they are. Abbey Group is obviously our current food service management company. Aladdin and Fresh Picks, I think Sodexo are ones that are currently have schools in the state of Vermont. I'm not sure. I don't have a list of every district that uses a food service management company, because there are some schools that don't use a food service management company. They do their food service program in-house. So in that case, all the employees are employed by the school district. There's, there's management involved, and the district doesn't use the company, an outside contractor. We do it ourselves. At one time, the districts here, I think they had a mix of some in-house, a couple different food service companies, and then when I started here, I don't know how long that's been. I mean, I've been with the district 6 years. It was prior to that. So it's been some time since the district has operated its own food service program. Another big component of a food service program is obviously the equipment and the kitchens that the food service company has to work with. So the kitchens and the equipment is the responsibility of the district. And so that has an impact on what food service management companies can do and the food they can prepare. If you've ever then let's say if you were at the Castleton Village School, when that was operating, you would know that school did not have a kitchen. So the food had to be transported from Castleton Elementary to the school in order to serve there. So as you can imagine, that would obviously impact the types of food that could be offered and prepared because they didn't have a kitchen. And so that limits the types of things that they're able to do. And so when you look at our district, that's why part of this process is a visit, a tour for all of the potential bidders, because they need to see and understand what's being provided to them. If you've ever been to the Orwell kitchen, you would know that and we've talked about it in Buildings and Grounds, that kitchen is in need of an upgrade. The Benson kitchen is also limited. Our best kitchens are at the Fairhaven Grade School, the Castleton Elementary School, and at the high school. So other schools, what the equipment and the condition of the kitchen has some impact on the offerings. And that's something that we're working on. Certainly we have an eye on upgrading the Orwell kitchen because that's probably in the grade of an upgrade at this point. Those of you who've been around a long time, Benson was basically built without really a proper kitchen for a school for whatever reason. I don't know if at the time kids were not eating meals at school.
No, our
hard to
kitchen
understand.
is quite nice, I thought.
It's inadequate. A lot of the equipment in there is kind of residential grade equipment and not commercial grade equipment.
Because I know Benson prepared their own meals for a long time until the
Right, but the type of equipment that's really needed now is
so they have good equipment, it's just not commercial grade equipment.
I think the equipment is in need. There's some needs there as well. I mean, I don't think that one
Never heard stuff grade.
There were things added there.
Yeah.
But
Didn't people
Yeah.
cook
Stoves.
without appliances at one point?
I think it's still, there's some limitations in that kitchen in terms of what they can do. And it's also your kitchens have one person that prepares the meal, serves the meal, and checks out the students after they've received their meal, with the assistance of staff in those buildings when staff is able to provide assistance. So in some cases, that's a lot for one person. Benson has one person in it, and Orwell has one person in it. And at the high school, the middle school, the food gets transported from the high school kitchen to the middle school to that multi-purpose room to serve those meals. And again, that has an impact on the food that can be offered because it has to be transported. It has to be kept heated, or it has to be kept cold during those service times. And then it has to be all dismantled and stored in a closet so that gym classes can take place. So there are some challenges there in the middle school kitchen as well. So all the potential bidders will have an opportunity to see the sites. They get a tour on April 7th. The proposals are submitted by April 28th. To the central office, and then evaluation of the proposals by committee. So I would like to get a couple board members to participate on the evaluation committee. Then evaluation is based on a rubric that's part of the RFP, and there's a criteria that's also part of the RFP. The recommendation of the committee will be reviewed with the finance committee and then submitted to the school board on May 8th with projected award date for by May 11th with the contract start of July 1. So that's the process. Food service RFP.
I'd like to be on the committee.
Great. Anybody else?
I know Janice did want to be on it as well when I met with her.
Okay.
And Christina, please.
3 board members? Okay. How about do you have students? Because we'll have a parent from
Okay,
the
yeah, I can be
elementary and a parent from high school. So you want to fill one of the parent positions?
Yeah.
That'd be great. Okay. So Becca? And who was the other one?
Janice.
Janice. Okay. And then Christina. So the committee would be myself, 1 or 2 board members, I said, and a building administrator, staff member, a parent with elementary student or students, and a parent with high school students. So that would be the makeup of the committee.
Now, this is entirely about deciding who would service the food. This doesn't have anything to do with the equipment or what we mentioned.
Right.
there.
So they pour the kitchen, they see the equipment that's available to them, and that impacts their price per meal because the equipment they have to work with and the amount of the equipment, the condition of the equipment impacts, the food that they're able to prepare, how quickly they're able to prepare it. The other issue that they have to deal with is the amount of time they have available to prepare food when kids are coming in during each of the times when I don't know what you call them, sessions or serving times. So you have to consider how many kids are served during that time, the time in between, food that gets either, has to be brought out or prepared in between those types of
That's
things.
fine. I just wanted to make sure that I understood that.
Right. So, we've been working on upgrading equipment since we have some funds available in our food service fund right now. We've been trying to upgrade things like mixers, slicers, and warming units. The big things are like the refrigeration units and freezers. Those are the more difficult ones to replace when we run into issues with them. Because in a lot of cases, they're like built into the building, for lack of a better word, basically. So they're not as easy to replace, but at some point, they all have a useful life. And at some point, the repairs can't be made. So, but as we can, we're updating other pieces of equipment.
I have a question. Is the bidding process similar to what Chris had explained last time about like you have to go with the lowest bid?
No.
You have to accept the lowest bid? Okay.
No, you don't necessarily. So there's a bidding criteria. So different things are weighted. The AOE requires that price has the greatest weight, but there are, let me get it out for you. There are plenty of other items or components, I'll just read them off to you, that are part of that. So it's a 100-point scale. 20 points based on price. So lowest price gets the highest number of points. And so that's the next lowest gets, so the lowest price would get 20 points and then it goes down from there. Meal menu quality, 15 points. School nutrition staff and benefits, 10 points. the breakfast program, 10 points, a la carte offerings, 5 points, documentation and record keeping, 10 points, increased participation, so how they would address increasing participation, 5 points, local procurement, 10 points, financial strength and stability of the company, 5 points, and references, 10 points. So that's a 100-point scale. And then the other exhibit that I referenced in my summary is Exhibit 11. And so that describes, how you look at each of those things, each of those components.
Okay, thank you.
So it, like I said, it goes through, okay, for increased participation, food service management company promotes the program and nutrition across all operating programs. Examples of promotion materials and merchandising signage is provided. A clear plan is included which outlines exactly what initiatives would be enacted. So again, it's pretty prescribed.
Okay.
Thank you, Cheryl. Are there any other questions regarding the food service? I guess if there are, those can be addressed within the committee, the newly formed committee. All right, if there's nothing online, we'll move on to the last day of school, or the proposed last day of school. It was a memo. Brooke, why don't you give us a quick summary on that?
Well, I'm assuming that we're not going to have any more snow days. So, fingers crossed, but we did do it at this board meeting last year. So based on the 3 snow days that we have, I am recommending that the last student day for all schools be January. Wow. June 20th, and that would be 179 student days. Contractually, it is in our teacher's contract for 180, but traditionally we've done less and added more in-service days to the end of the year. Legally, we're only required to have 175 days, student days per statute. And then the last teacher day and support staff day would be June 22nd. And it's important to have some in-service days for teachers at the end of the year because we are moving to a new math program in the elementary school. So we want to make sure we have ample time to provide professional development. So this would be my recommendation, but that would get us to the contractual number of days for support staff and teachers.
So you need a motion, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll make a motion, we accept Brooke's recommended last day of school, June 20th, and June 3rd? Second for teachers.
And support staff.
And support staff.
Second.
Questions or discussion?
Yeah, Brooke,
Yep.
what is it that support staff does during those 2 days?
In service, professional development. Chris can certainly speak to what they're thinking about for this year, but they have professional development.
Yep, they do professional development, we do recertification on trainings that need to be done annually so that we can recert our returning staff in June and then just focus on the new staff in August for some of those things that need to be done annually.
But it's a cost because they're paid by the hour, correct?
Correct.
Contracted whether we have them working or not.
We're required to have them work 184 days per their master agreement. So.
Well, you're required or they're required? I mean, you could always waive that requirement.
Well, it's negotiated.
Well, we would still have to pay them. We're required to offer them 184 days of employment.
Correct.
Regarding the student days, why not 180?
Because we really could use the time for the professional development for teachers. We can certainly do 180, but it would cut into the PD.
June 20th is a Tuesday, correct?
Correct.
So everyone's out of the building on Thursday, the 22nd.
Yep.
Okay. So when we build our calendar, it's 180, which includes 5 snow days?
Well, you mean for students?
Yeah.
Yeah, we base it at 180 days.
So 180 and we lost 3.
Yeah.
So we're down to 177. So you're in effect making the students
Make up at least 2 of the
make up
days.
2 of those days to get
Yeah.
back to 179?
Yep.
All right.
I mean, you could
Should we,
say they only have to make up 177, but
yeah.
So it's 181 for the teachers?
it's 186 for teachers.
Oh. Okay, that's for the whole year.
Yes.
All right. But it's only 2 the students at the end of the year.
Correct.
In this proposal.
In this proposal, yeah.
All right, any other discussion? All
This could
those,
allow, though, I was just gonna say, this could allow for another snow day, so if there was another snow day, you could keep it where it is, you'd have a little protection built in there.
Yeah, you could
Just for
just
people who don't
extend.
understand, the whole calendar, the way it works.
Yes, you could. If we had another snow day, you could just push teacher and support staff to the 23rd and still have the last student day on the 20th.
So it's a good,
Right.
cushion there, if you will.
Well, let's hope we don't have another snow day.
Well, no, I understand. I understand, but.
Hopefully.
you're
It
saying
has happened.
You're saying you wouldn't want to go into a Monday as a
Right,
No,
right. Going into
no.
a Monday in the 20, you're
In the late
talking in the
20s,
late
no.
20s of June
that really builds teacher morale.
does
doesn't
not build teacher morale at all.
Builds
No.
morale all the way around.
No. So I think it's a good plan, I guess, is what I'm saying.
it? All righty. Hearing nothing further, all those in favor of accepting Brooke's recommendation for the last days of school, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Alrighty, other business? Yes.
I have two things, if I may. For those of you who are here in person, I did leave books on the table for the essential work of Vermont school boards. Those are for you to take home. If you're virtual, or for those who are not here tonight, I do have those to give to you when I see you. But that book, if you've been on the board before, I probably handed them out 5-6 years ago. It really discusses what your roles and responsibilities are. So I think it's helpful. So there's that for you to look through. And then the other thing I just wanted to say, we were able to settle support staff negotiations. So at the next board meeting on the 10th, I'll have details for you of what that is, and then the board will need to consider ratifying that agreement. The intent would be, we were able to work it out with the union, so contracts for support staff will not go out till April 14th as opposed to April 1st. So we don't have to send letters of intent and then contracts, because that's double the work and can be confusing. So we did work it out to delay that, but thank you to everyone who served on that committee. It was pretty successful, and I think we had 4 sessions, 3 or 4. So
There was a walkout, but we got it done. We got it done. Anything else? Okay. Any other business? Any other board members?
Yes.
Yes, John.
So a couple meetings ago, there was a parent that came in from Castleton and was asking about some kind of ceremony for 6th graders who were, finishing elementary school career. Well, since then, the last week, I've had a couple parents approach me about the same thing, asking about why Orwell isn't doing that type of thing. So I was actually thought maybe one or both of them would be online tonight, but I haven't seen them. So I did promise I would mention that. They and apparently some other parents feel like, their kids are missing out something that's been a tradition in our schools in the past.
Well, there are principals here. Does anyone want to address that? For in your school or?
Hi, John. Yes, our move-up day is gonna happen on the last day of school. And it's gonna be something similar that's going on in my sister schools. And there's a celebration and an honor of the sixth grade students. There's a small award ceremony and a little parade that happens. We usually get a bagpiper to lead the parade. But as far as a traditional eighth grade graduation, we're not going down that road anymore. But there we are honoring the sixth grade students. And that is planned to be distributed out to those parents on the 1st of April, by the 1st of April.
Okay, excellent, thank you.
And in Castleton, we're doing our traditional torch ceremony that we've always done. We haven't done it in a few years because of COVID, but we have a torch that we pass on from our sixth graders to our fifth graders. And we have a ceremony, we invite all of the sixth grade families to join us.
Right.
So we've already put that out to our families so they could save the date. They had 3 months to have that date because it's during the school day. So that's been our tradition and we're gonna continue that tradition.
Can you describe the torch? Like there's a flame?
Well, I will tell you the torches, I have not sold on which torch because we had a torch that got passed on, but since fifth grade teachers have left and since COVID happened, no one knows where said torch is. And I guess it was in pretty bad shape anyway. So I went online and ordered a torch. I don't like it, so I'm not convinced, but, so stay tuned.
Okay, there's no
They'll
flame.
have a
There's no
torch,
working
there's an
flame.
actual torch, they actually pass it
Okay.
down the line and every kid gets the torch, so.
Okay.
There is an actual torch, but stay tuned to what it looks like.
This is our second year of not having middle schoolers. Ours left a year prior to everyone. So we include our sixth graders and ask what they would like to do. We do something during the school day. It's usually a celebration with some of our fifth grade students as well. We do something very special with a decorated box where the students receive gifts and letters from staff, students, and community members to move on. So this will be our second year of doing that.
Thanks.
And Fairhaven Grade School does not have the details ironed out, but we'll do something similar for sixth grade just to honor the fact that they're leaving and moving on. So we're working with our 5, 6 teachers to figure out exactly what that looks like for those guys this year.
We've all been talking as principals to make similar in nature. How we're gonna do that.
I like the bagpiper idea. That's tough. That's tough to top.
We gotta sneak the bagpiper in whenever we can.
But you're saying that would include everybody? Or just?
No, these are individual.
These are all individual items, okay.
We don't have a torch. We have a bagpiper.
You did do with Sam's 8th grade class, you did the letters and all of that. That was the first time you guys did it, probably the last with the 8th graders. Sam still has the box and it still really means a lot to him. Even though he's graduating from high school, it's still something that lasted a lot longer than when Jonathan graduated. It was just so it was really nice to get that kind of thing to carry on.
All right, thanks, principals. Thanks for bringing that up, John. Any other business? Okay, so before we get into executive sessions, looking ahead to agenda building, our next meeting is on April 10th, back at the high school. Any big ticket items?
The support staff
Yeah.
contract will probably be the biggest one.
I'll have the audit for you to.
Audit. We'll have a Title I policy to review since we haven't had the policy committee in a few months. We're going to have to bring that to the full board to kind of look at. Not that we have any suggestions in terms of changes, but it does need to be reviewed by the board before we can apply for grants. So that is a critical one to look at. I think that's I'm
Okay.
sure there'll be more before then, but that is
Okay.
all I can think of off the top of my head right now.
All right, again, so I'll give a quick preview on the executive sessions. The first executive session will be for legal matters. We would like to invite Brooke and Chris Cole.
Can we do it in a different order?
Oh,
Sorry, I'm just thinking of strategically because there's different principals that need to attend to different ones.
you
and
tell
I-
me the order then.
Okay.
You tell me the order.
So I wanted to do student matter first, and that would be Patrick, Casey, and Chris Benway. It's like they're so disappointed when I.
No one can leave the building. You just have to go into the holding room. So there's no benefit to be gained here in this order. Okay?
The second one would be personnel, and that would be Chris, Brooke, and Ben. Sorry, they're all
That
like
was me.
groaning
Yeah.
as to. And then the third one is going to be a legal matter, and that would be Chris Cole and myself.
And we might expect to have.
You said Chris Cole and yourself.
Oh, just Chris and I know. The board has to be in all of them. Sorry,
So
guys.
before you guys
Oh, you
leave, there
can.
could be action. We might expect there to be action on student matters.
You let us know.
Yeah, wait around.
All right.
Do you have her phone number? I can text her later.
Yes, I have Jen's number.
All right, so Peter, you've been the motion man tonight. We are looking
Make a
for a motion to go into executive session for student matters.
Motion to go into executive session for student matters with
Patrick, Brooke,
Patrick,
Casey,
Casey
and Chris.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Put them together based on the time.
Thank you.